Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. I'd like to call to order the regular town council meeting December 7th, 2011. And we have Reverend Friesen from United Church that gives us the opening prayer.
Well, actually, you don't. You have Pastor Don, but that's fine.
Oh, sorry.
He sends his regrets.
Thank you.
I just want to start by saying, as someone who's been in this community for 17 years, I decided before I came tonight I would drive around town and look at what we have in Strathmore. And for us as Christians, this is a season of light as we look at Christmas coming. And as I drove around the streets, I realized how much spirit and how much hope this community has. And I want to hold up our council because I see the lights on the streets. We've got our new light park. Something is happening in our community, and it is good, and it is warm. And it might be cold out there physically, but I think tonight as we gather, we should be encouraged and celebrate the light of Strathmore. So please join with me as we begin with prayer. Gracious God, we gather this night as members of this community, and we gather to say thank you for the many blessings we see in our midst. We know that there are lots of cold and shadowy things happening, yet Strathmore seems to be growing and increasing in so many ways. We thank you for your light that shines in our midst, that calls us together to care for people of all ages, to provide resources and supports, and to help build us to be the community that you call us to be. As we enter into this Christmas season, Lord, keep us all safe. Keep our eyes focused on what it really is about, caring for one another, showing your love and compassion, and growing into a community that shows the world how we can live and serve together. I ask you to bless each of our council members this night, and each community member as they bring forth their concerns. May it be a meeting blessed with calmness and a sense of all people working together to your common good. Bless us now as we meet and as we share. In Christ's name, amen.
Thank you very much, Pastor Don. Right now we move to the public hearing on the agenda. And I would open the public hearing minutes to read this is December 7th, commencing at 7:28 or 7:38 in the Solemn Chambers. And the purpose of this bylaw number 1124 is to amend the land use bylaw map by redesigning a portion of the northwest quarter, 24 west of the 4th, 25 west of the 4th, agricultural general district to R1N, residential narrow lot, single detached district R2, residential mixed housing district, and P1 public service district, as well as 2 textual amendments to land use bylaw number 8920. And we're looking for confirmation notices.
Your Worship and Council, the ad was advertised in the Strathmore November 25th and December 2nd editions of the Strathmore Times.
Reports from planning and development representatives. Thank you.
Yes, it would be. Thank you, Your Worship. This application is for the first redesignation of the Prairie Merchant land. It's located at the northwest 24 and basically 25. And this has to do with more just the southwest corner, which is depicted in your attachments. It is for residential and for public service, so that would be more of these areas. They are proposing 2 text amendments as well, which are to potentially allow narrower lots than what is prescribed under the R1N. So it is a site-specific text amendment. We have done those in the past, but this is just for Council's consideration. They wish to do some single-family home lots to 36 feet. Currently, the R1N standards are 39.4 feet. So they are asking for a slight relaxation for that area. The other textual amendment is the potential for allowing extended medical treatment facility. And the reason why that they have not opted for the R3, which is a prescribed use, discretionary use under R3, is that they didn't want to have any structure to go higher than 2 stories. So that's the 2 text amendments that are being proposed, in addition, obviously, to the land use redesignations to R1N, R2, and 2P1.
Thank you. Application representation Christie Bunder, is it? Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship, and members of council. Just have a very brief presentation for you this evening, just to go into a little more description into the application. That's before you. So, Your Worship, the application is for the southwest corner of the Prairies View community, which is the quarter section on the east side of town. We are proposing to redesignate the land identified as outlined in red here to R1N and R2. We have added, as Ms. Henry has explained, a request for a site-specific amendment to have a proposed lot width of a minimum 36 foot. We could go anywhere from 36 to 40 in this case with this amendment. What we're proposing to do is the internal lots on this initial cul-de-sac, we are requesting be allowed to go to a 36-foot lot width. A couple of reasons for that include not wanting to have front driveways and reducing conflicting turning movements, because on this side of the street we have pretty much a walkout opportunity here. So we would have front drive garage on this side. We don't want front drive garage on this side. We don't want to see a conflicting turning movement on what would be a major street. In addition, we are asking that an additional site-specific amendment be considered for this R2 site, primarily allowing for a senior assisted living facility as a discretionary use. I'm not so sure about the limiting of the height issue so much as wanting to have the flexibility and the opportunity to provide that use if we are approached with the right opportunity. This is the corner of and the feature point of this community is the first thing you're going to see, and it needs to be done right if it's going to happen there. So it's a discretionary addition in our opinion. The site-specific amendment to allow for a 36-foot minimum lot width helps reduce, as I mentioned, the front drive garage product and resolves potential turning movement conflicts on the major. The width also helps place the garage in the rear lane, and that's our objective for those lots that do have lanes, is that the garage goes to the back. It also helps to achieve the 8 to 10 units per acre density targets established by the Calgary Metropolitan Plan. So we still have a single-family use, but it's a little bit of a more flexible way of attaining a density target that the Metropolitan Plan is suggesting is appropriate. It also helps us test the market for both the product type and the affordability of the product type in the town, which provides the developer and the builder with that flexibility. Now, the reason for a site-specific amendment and not, we didn't make an application to amend the bylaw in its entirety. We're suggesting that this is a trial, that this is something we'd like to try and implement here and see how it goes, really, because we want some assurances that the appearance and the affordability of the built form is there at the implementation stage. And we want to ensure that the results are there in terms of a high-quality, pedestrian-friendly streetscape at the point of entry to this project. If it's found to be successful and council's happy with the outcome as well, because you'll see it, watch it progress, we may come back for either a project-wide amendment or we will seek a revision of the bylaw. And we can always do that with the town's support. As council knows, the Calgary Metropolitan Plan identifies this area as part of a compact urban node to achieve 8 to 10 units per acre. This reduced lot width helps us to achieve that while retaining a mix of housing type. So we don't have to go multi-family density everywhere. This is a streetscape example that we had prepared on a 36-foot wide lot. There's 2 widths of homes that could be supported on a 36-foot wide lot. A 22-foot wide house, which results in a 7-foot side yard, And these are examples architecturally of the kind of home we'd like to see. Or a 26-foot wide house on a 36-foot wide lot. This is with the 5-foot side yard setback. We are not requesting a reduction in the side yard setback. We are going to work with the side yard setback that is standard with the R1 zoning. We're simply requesting a lot width revision. I anticipate that along the streetscape, you'd see a mixture of 26 to 22-foot wide housing products. So you wouldn't see a uniformly 26 or a uniformly 22. You'd likely see a mix along that streetscape. What we're trying to do is accomplish a North American craftsman design for this community, which is very heavy front porch and very heavy pedestrian environment. These are some examples of that, and in fact, the setbacks in these pictures are much less than what the town of Strathmore requires. And you can actually see in the bottom left-hand corner, or the bottom right-hand corner, that the setback to the sidewalk is almost zero. And they do that to enhance the pedestrian environment. So the front yard setback in these examples, in both of these cases, is almost zero to the sidewalk. That's not what we're asking for. We wanted to work within your bylaw. But what we want to achieve at the end of the day is very much a streetscape like this, with the front porch, the front walk, and the garage to the back. I think it's important to establish the pedestrian environment early and establish the kind of quality of home that we want right at the beginning. We are also proposing an architectural guideline that's quite extensive to inform the design here. It does require an internal review by an architect prior to the issuance of a building permit. So prior to anyone coming down to the town and suggesting they want a building permit, they have to have a stamp from our architectural enforcement officers. And it also requires a high degree of quality in the build form. So really, at the end of the day, we're asking a builder here to put a $10,000 or $15,000 premium in the architecture before they even walk in the door. The application that we're making today is consistent with the area structure plan, allows for the 36-foot lot width to a point where it's considered an initial trial, and it's in a location that requires a high quality in its design and implementation. And this subdivision would be registered in phases with the 50 lots at a time, roughly. I haven't made the subdivision application and be as I can't until we get some direction from council on the lot width. That concludes my presentation, Mr. Chairman. I'm able to take any questions. Should also suggest, and I do apologize, that Brett Wilson could not be here today. He's on an airplane and his 100th airplane trip this year because of his speaking engagements.
Thank you very much, Christy. Any questions from council? Councilor Best.
36 feet. We went from 50 to 46 to 39, 36. I can show you a picture that I have took in Burnaby. The lot width is 15 feet. Are we going there? Are we headed that way? Because I'm not. I'll tell you now. To go to 36 feet, that's not, I don't, you said we want to work within the bylaw, but we want to change it for us. Right? That's what you're saying.
I don't think we'd be, I think we're just probably the first of many who'd like to try this. I think what we're saying is council can control it. It's not a town-wide amendment that we're requesting, it's a specific one, and we've been very clear about that. These are pictures from the Lower Mainland, and you're right, these lots that you're seeing are even less than 36 feet. But we want 36-foot lot. We're willing to work with setbacks. We're not adjusting the setbacks. The fire separation issues are considerable if you reduce the setback to what's shown here. We're not trying to do that. We'd just like to
put more houses in per so you can make more money. Let's be real. Let's be honest. That's what you're doing. You want to put more places in so you can make more money.
Point of order, Your Worship. I don't see any reason why we have to take this tone with a guest of ours. I go back to my police base, but it's just.
Slow it down, yeah. Yes,
question through the chair. I'd like to ask if you're proposing a 36-foot lot to stem the traffic from both sides because you have garages in the front on the other side. Can you also accomplish that by staying with 39-foot lot? Can you not have garages in the back and still stay away from the access to the road?
Yes, we can, but the impetus to the builder is less because they have a stock product on a 40-foot wide lot that they're just going to put in there. What we're suggesting is that they have to come to the table with something different than their stock product. And put the garage in the back and think about what that looks like at the end.
Could I ask one more question then? Can we not, or can you not go to the same set of builders and say, we don't want the stock product on these 39-foot lots, we want something else?
Yes, we can. But the 39-foot lot costs more than the 36-foot lot. And we're asking for an investment in architecture and not an investment in the lot at the end of the day. That's where the trade-off is. We want a high degree of implementation. And we're prepared to reduce the lot price to get what we want. And to reduce the lot price on a front footage basis has to be less. It's simple economics.
Councillor, go ahead.
Two.
Oh, sorry.
Two questions, Your Worship. First is Ms. Wunder. For the ASP, and I don't have it in front of me, and I'll be sure to look at this after, but was there not some comment in there that you could fulfill the requirements of the CRP mandate pursuant to the amount of residences per acre with our present bylaws?
Yes, there is that statement in there, and it actually just requires, and I don't think I have a full shot of the community, perhaps I'll pull one up. I'll give you just a moment. Oh, I do actually. This one. It requires a greater degree of densification on the corners where we propose the R3. So this would be a higher density product at the end of the day, as would this one. And likely, the R2 sites that we've shown, this one and this one, we'd be looking for density variance on if we were to make those targets. And the area structure plan also suggests that we would be coming to council and making the request for a reduced lot width in the R1. It also leaves it totally at council's discretion.
My second question is actually to Tammy in regards to previous situations where we made exceptions for 36-foot or R1N lots. You said that there was previous occasions on that. Can you be more specific on that?
Your Worship, it isn't specific to lot widths per se. It's more exceptions, text amendments exceptions. So, for example, aged care, they were an exception for their use on the P1 district.
But not to the 36-foot lot?
Not to the 36-foot
Thank you.
lot, you're correct.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Barker.
Your Worship, through to Christie, I'm not so much concerned with the 36-foot width. I'm more concerned how long is it from the front to the back.
They're usually 36 foot by 110 foot.
So my concern is a little bit more with the garage being in the backyard. You're going to have a very small green space back there for a backyard, right?
Yeah, and you can see here what we've got. We've laid it out on a figuregram, just on this is on a 22-footer. You've got a backyard of, I can't even read that, 6 or 7 meters, and the front yard is 6 or 7 meters. So you can see the front yard setback really determines how much backyard we have. In the examples that we showed the 0 setback to the sidewalk, which gives for a greater backyard. And then the next example is this. So it's almost identical in terms of the spacing front to back and then back to the garage.
Any further questions from council? Comments? Thank you very much, Chris. Very well done. Thank you. Any person wishing to be heard in favor of the applicant? And delegations? No, none. If not, anybody opposed to the applicant? Delegations opposed?
move the public hearing be adjourned, Your Worship.
Yeah. There's no rebuttals or anything, to anybody? Anybody? All in favor of the public hearing being adjourned? Carried. Any, number 3 on the agenda, any amendments to the deletion to the agenda?
Worship, I'd like to move citizens of the month of December to item number 3.
So you do anything else?
Your Worship, I'd like to add under new business, Family Day. And also under new business, Strathmore Youth Council.
So it's 8-3 and 8-4.
Thank you.
Or 8 and 8, sorry. Actually, we have 8-7 to keep us in our purchase for the family center. So that would be 8-9 and 10. Someone like to move adoption? Or anything from administration?
You got it, Your Worship.
Thank you. Someone move adoption, please.
I'll move the agenda be adopted.
All in favor? Carried. Councilor Hamlin?
Yes, Citizen of the Month. It's my pleasure to be able to nominate a citizen of Strathmore who has the interests of his community at heart. This has been most recently displayed in his continuing efforts in a David and Goliath effort to have the highway realignment remain as it currently is. This is but one of the many endeavors that he and his company are involved in the town of Strathmore as well as other surrounding communities. One only has to check the website at strathmoremotors.com to see just how many community events and organizations he supports. I will only mention one that I am involved in, and that is the annual Victim Services Golf Tournament that raised over $14,000. This is but one of 49 organizations that garners his support. He and his business are one of the cornerstones of the business community in the Strathmore area. And with that, I would like to ask Mr. Howless to come forward and accept this award as Citizen of the Month.
Thank you very much.
Your Worship and Council, thank you very much. I'm very, very touched.
Thanks.
Tom.
Number 4-1.
Wait.
What? Oh, yes, we have to move it, sorry.
Yeah, I move that council accept Howless as Citizen of the Month for December 2011.
I'll hear the motion. All in favor? Carried. 4-1, adoption of November 16th to 11th committee of the whole meeting.
I move the committee of the whole meeting minutes for November 16th, 2011 be adopted.
Y'all heard the motion, all in favor? Carried. 4-2, adoption of November 16th regular council meeting minutes.
Your Worship, one addition, or one correction actually, and it's a minor one, page 2 of the minutes, and in which paragraph 3 under the heading in favor, Ms. Karen Pease, that should be spelled P-E-A-S-E. Thank you.
All in favor? There you
I don't
go.
think there's a motion.
Oh, is there a motion?
Your Worship, I would move that we adopt the November 16th, 2011 regular council meeting minutes as amended.
All in favor? Carried. We have a delegation from Carol, page 11. Welcome.
Good evening, Your Worship and council members. I'm Carol Curry, and I'm here to speak on behalf of a lot of the participants in the water aerobics classes at the Strathmore pool. When the pool was emptied in the fall and then it was filled again after its cleaning process, we all felt that the pool wasn't as warm as it had been. So on October the 3rd, we asked to have a meeting with Natasha Barron, the pool manager, to discuss our concerns with it. She said that she would meet with us on the 7th of October, and at 10 o'clock on that Friday, she did meet with us, as well as her assistant manager, Brenda Conlon. We expressed our concerns about the coolness of the water. We also expressed our concerns about some of the facility, the ladies' change room, the hot tub was not working much of the time, and we had hoped that something could be worked out about especially the coolness of the water. Now, the manager, Natasha, told us that because there was lane swimmers, the water had to be kept cooler. We said to her, could it not be warmed up a bit? Natasha told us that she would up the temperature 0.25 degrees, which is 1/4 of a degree. And she would meet with us every 2 weeks. And we would attempt to come up with a temperature in the pool that was going to meet everybody's needs. There was never a meeting. We were never asked to another meeting. It was posted in the pool that it was at 28 degrees and that it was now a lane pool. Then there was a posting of 28 degrees every day, and there was a new sign saying it was a lane pool. We have done a lot of research to find out what a whole bunch of the pools in southern Alberta have their temperature at. And I wish to read you the ones that we have found. We have 2 Calgary pools, Bob Beham, which is 28.8. Renfrew is 29 degrees. Three Hills, 29 degrees. Drumheller, 28.8 degrees. High River and Okotoks, 29.4 to 30 degrees. Brooks, 30 degrees. Airdrie, 28.8 to 29 degrees. Now, we can provide you with the people we talked to at these pools if you need us to. But Strathmore is 28 degrees, which is colder than anyone else in practically all of this area. Now, Linda Nelson, your Deputy Chief Administrating Officer, told us in mid-October that the pool had been redesignated from a community and family pool to a lane pool. Now, we have a few questions about that decision, and I'm going to list you the questions, and then I'm going to relist them so you can answer them one at a time. When was the pool redesignated? Why was it redesignated? Who made that decision? Was it you, Your Majesty, and the council? Or was it the staff of the pool that made that decision? And why was the community not told that that decision was made? Now, if I can go back, if you would like, if you could answer When was the pool redesignated?
I don't have that information here. Can the administration tell us?
No, Your Worship, I wasn't aware that it was redesignated. I was under the impression it was always a lane pool.
How, may I ask you, Linda Nelson, could it possibly always have been a lane pool when it has a deep end and it has diving boards? To me, every pool that we've talked to have said that unless it's lanes and it's the same distance all the way across the pool, it is not a lane pool. The second question is, why was it designated to a lane pool? Does anyone have an answer to that?
I don't, does council have an answer?
Well, Your Worship, if I could, I don't think we'd be involved in the decision-making regarding the management of the pool. That's something that's left up to the people who work at the pool. So the fact that the council doesn't necessarily know how these are decisions, it wouldn't have come to us to make that kind of a decision. It's left in the hands of administration and the people managing the pool.
So you're telling me, Pat, that the pool is not answering to the town? The town does not have anything to do with what the pool does? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I wouldn't say that necessarily, but what I would say is that we aren't necessarily the group that would be involved in the day-to-day decision or the decision regarding the different users of the pool.
But that is a major decision. When you redesignate a pool from a community family pool to a lane pool. Well, Linda says it always was a lane pool. I don't believe that, because I don't think you'd have got anybody raising money in this town for a lane pool. Because there's probably, 5,000 or 6,000 people that use that pool who don't swim lanes.
Councilor Best was first.
I think that going, the first three questions here go back to what our deputy CAO said, that it's been believed that it was always a lane pool, and that answers those first three questions.
I guess I'm not accepting that it was always a lane pool. I cannot believe that it was always a lane pool. I have talked to half a dozen pools in this area. And Brooks has a lane pool. It is only lanes. There's no deep end. It's all the one depth. That's what a lane pool is. I think if you look into it, if you go online, you'll find that a lane pool is designated as all one depth, and it is, the lanes are marked off. Now, I may be wrong, but I cannot imagine this town, if they had announced that they were building a lane pool, they wouldn't have made a dime. There's a ton of people in this town that have raised a lot of money and have got bricks on that wall, myself included and my husband, who did not build a lane pool.
I want to be clear on something. Whether we call it an apple, an orange, or a lane pool, it provides for different persons to go in there. The pool, you're not telling me, for instance, that the pool is now designated only for for lane swimming,
Yes,
are you?
that's what we're being told,
That's
that's the reason it's being kept at 28 degrees.
No,
It's because it's a lane pool.
Just answer my question though. But are you suggesting that you've been advised that it's only for lane swimming?
No.
Okay, so the fact of the matter is, well, no matter what we call it, everyone's still allowed to go in there. It's still a family pool.
That's right.
Okay.
But we are being told that it's being kept at 28 for the lane swimmers. And we can't stand it, so most of us are not.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. I just want to make sure you weren't being kept out of the pool, that's all.
No, we're not.
Okay.
I think a couple of other things. One is the swim team, and if they're going to have swim meets here, the pool really cannot be above 28 degrees. I used to swim in a swim club when I was younger, and I'll tell you what, when the water gets warmer, at the end of the day, you are dead tired.
when we met with the pool manager, we said to her that the Silver Sharks, we are very glad we have them. And we are more than willing, when they have a swim meet, for them to bring the water back down. But most of the pools we talked to said that's exactly what they do. When their swim team is going to have a meet, they bring the water temperature down.
Takes
They
2 or
put
3
it
days.
back up when regular people are swimming in it. Like we're being
It takes 2
told-
or 3 days to drop the temperature of the pool.
Well, I realize that. We're not done. We know that. But we cannot swim in it if it's at 28. We just cannot do aerobics, stay in there for an hour. And, you know, as we have been told a number of things. And one thing we were told was that if you get cold, go into the hot tub and then come back in. Well, I want to tell you, we have paid money for an hour swimming lesson, water aerobic swimming lesson. We're not going to get out of that water and go into the hot tub and come back in. Not only are we not going to do that, that would be very detrimental to a lot of people to try doing that.
Not good for your heart.
Can't do it.
Thank you. Is there a representative from the pool here?
The swim club, not the pool.
Oh, swim
She
club.
wanted to be here tonight, but she had prior engagements.
Okay, but could we finish then? Okay, thank you. And could we finish your question then? Or
The other question I had was, once that, even if it has always been a lane pool, which I don't believe, if it was redesignated, which we were told by Linda Nelson that it had been redesignated, why was the community not informed of that? That it was no longer a community family pool. It was now a lane pool and the water was going to be kept cold. The community needs to know that.
I just want, you know, I want to keep this in perspective. I mean, we can talk about whether this is a lane pool or not, but I really don't see that as being relevant because everyone's still allowed to go in there. Plus, we have lane swimmers, which I encourage because most of these young people, and I understand their numbers to be approximately 100, them being involved in something like a swim club is exactly what I think we and all adults and people of this town want our youth to be involved in. But getting back to the specific issue, and the issue is, if I understand correctly, is that the pool is too cold at 28. Could you tell me what temperature you want it to be at?
We would be happy, we would have been happy if she'd even brought it up 1/4 of a degree, which she promised, and she didn't. But ideally, when we look at all of the average of all of the pools that we have talked to, 29 looks like would be about what we would like to have it at.
All right, and I don't want to...
And, you know, 28 degrees is 82.4 Fahrenheit. 30 degrees is 86 degrees Fahrenheit. We would be happy if we could get it increased at all, and we sure would really be happy if it was at 29.
Okay, now correct me if I'm wrong. There's two things I want to say. First of all, correct me if I'm wrong, but at one point it was brought down to 27, and that's when I think a lot of the complaints started. The swim club, their wish was for it to be at 27. That's medically is ideal for a swim, for that kind of exercise to be at 27. You folks wanted it at, the Aquasize wanted it at 29, and a compromise was made, as I understand it, to be 28, which is 82.4.
Yeah, I don't believe that's
Okay.
true. That's true at all.
But it is at 28 now.
Yes.
Okay. And the other issue that I just wanted to raise is the numbers, the statistics that we've gotten from a survey of all the pools, and some of these different than the ones you've got. So I'm a little concerned about that. But they do have Airdrie down at 27.
We have names that we can give you if you.
Well, I'm not going to get into that, but I do want our administration to look into that further because these are the numbers we've got, and if they're not right, I want to know why they're not right. But the average temperature we've got is 28 degrees, and we've also got some medical suggestions saying that the higher temperature you do go, especially for seniors, the more dangerous it is. So this has become a little bit more. I'll supply you with the
I tell you, Bob.
Yep.
I go to Dr. Lobay.
Yep.
There is a lot of different doctors who have been sending the seniors to the pool, and the seniors have been refusing to go because it's too cold.
All right.
And the doctors have agreed, but my Dr. Lobay said if we needed her to, she would call and speak on our behalf.
Okay, I just wanted your comment on that.
We
All right.
cannot swim in 28.
Go ahead, Martin.
Your worship, so for the size of that swimming pool, and you're asking to raise it to 0.25 from 28?
That's what we were told that she
No,
would.
I just understood you to say here a couple minutes ago that you would like to see it go up 0.25.
Well, we would like it to go to 29, but we'd like to, if she can only put it up a quarter of a degree, that's better than what it was.
I just,
We wanted to go up a whole degree, but she offered to put it up a quarter of a degree, 0.25.
and that's gonna make a difference in the temperature in that size of that pool?
Well, that's what we wondered, what kind of logic that was. But that's kind of the way
But I
we really
understood
spoke to
you,
that.
I understood you to say you'd be happy if it went up to 28.25.
I said to you, Rocky, we would be happy to see it increase, the heat increased in that pool. And if they can only give us a quarter of a degree, we'll accept that. But we would like it a full degree. We have noticed that we knew where the temperature thermometer was in the water, so we kept watching it to see if the quarter degree was coming up, and the thermometer disappeared. And we could no longer find it in the pool. So we think we're being discriminated against, the people who are not lane swimmers, who are not the silver sharks. And we are happy with the silver sharks. We want to keep them, but we think there has to be a compromise.
Dr. Bill?
I just have a quick question, and I guess it's not necessarily, I don't know if we have the person to answer it. Maybe it will be towards the silver sharks. Is 29 degrees a safe temperature for lane swimmers and the swim club members, the youth? If they're training?
I have a presentation that will cover
Okay, okay. Because I just wanted to see, I know that Councillor Sobel talked about the compromise where you wanted it 29 and the swim team wanted it 27 and it was compromised at 28. What I just want to make sure is that the water would be safe for both types of users at the temperature that it is going to be put at. That's my concern.
For a health factor?
Yes.
Yeah. Any further questions first?
No, I think I've made my case as clear as I can, that a lot of us need that water warmer or we will not swim.
I'd just like to make a comment. I lane swim personally myself, and I find 28 degrees to be very comfortable when I do lane swim. I do one lane and I'm very, very comfortable with it. That being the point that, or besides that, I feel that this is an administration problem, if you want to call it that, and it should be dealt with through administration, not through council. We can't give direction. We can't give direction.
I am shocked and to hear that the pool is not countable to you.
Yeah, we hired the people to run it, and they're supposed to be doing a good job, so I'll just leave it at that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate your presentation and it'll be taken into consideration by the right direction, okay, by council.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. And we want a presentation from the Swim Club, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I apologize if I call you Your Honor because it's a bad past I have from my other fellow colleagues there. I want to thank you for allowing us to come and speak tonight. We really appreciate it. We're pleased to be able to make this presentation. And we want to clearly explain the reasoning behind our wish to keep the pool temperature at its current level. And we do definitely appreciate the request from the others to increase the temperature. Our swim club we've been in Strathmore for approximately 6 years now. And on behalf of the swim team, I want to show why the temperature has to remain the same or even a lower level. We currently have 85 swimmers in the pool, approximately 3 times a week. They are between the ages of 6 and 17 years old. In addition, many of our swimmers come on their own to extra practice. I know my son and several other kids swim an extra 2 or 3 times a week. Our swimmers have developed over the past 6 years, and some of our swimmers are now achieving provincial time standards. We currently have one swimmer who qualified for provincials, which is a very high standard, and we have another swimmer that's 1/100th of 1 second off from meeting the provincial standard. So right now I want to explain, I should explain why competitive swimmers would want the water temperature between 25 and 28 degrees Celsius, which is the recommended temperature by FINA, the governing body for swimming, the international governing body for swimming. When swimmers are swimming, they are obviously doing a high level of physical activity. This creates an elevated heart rate and elevated body temperature. When swimming in water at a temperature above the recommended levels, there is an increased strain on their metabolic and cardiovascular systems. This means that the recovery period from the activity is increased. In short, it is potentially harmful to the swimmers to swim in water which is warmer than recommended. To put it another way, if you're vigorously training, your body generates an increased amount of heat energy. In the air, this heat is dissipated by sweating. The evaporation of sweat is a cooling mechanism to help control your body temperature. In water, your body generates that same type of heat, but you can't dissipate it by sweating. It has to come through the water. And the warmer the water, the harder it is for your body to cool. There's been many studies done on water temperature for swimmers, and I have sent you one in relation to this. It's one of the studies that has been highly referenced. According to the American Red Cross, they've recommended that water temperature for competitive swimming should be at 78 degrees Fahrenheit, which is approximately 25.5 degrees Celsius. This is, you can see, is quite a bit cooler than what the current temperature is. I should mention that in the spring, when the pool temperature was lowered from 29 to 28 degrees, there was a noticeable decrease in our swimmers feeling nauseous after their training sessions. This alone shows that we should be as close as possible to the recommended swimming temperatures for the well-being of our children. Another point I wanted to make tonight, which should be considered as well, that during my research into pool temperatures, I discovered that according to the U.S. Department of Energy, for every 1 degree increase Fahrenheit in temperature costs an extra 10 to 30% in heating costs for the pool. This is the consideration because if the temperatures increase to 29, there will be a comparable increase in pool operating costs. This brings me to the crux of the matter that we have before you today. In reality, we should be here asking for water temperature to be lowered from 28 to 27 or even to 26, purely for the well-being of our swimmers. This, though, would not be in keeping with our recognition that we are not the only users of our pool. It's a community pool. We know and appreciate that we share this facility, and therefore we can abide by the temperature remaining at 28 degrees Celsius, which, although not optimum for our needs, would still be a temperature that all users can work with. Our swim program has been highly successful in keeping the youth in our community active, fit, and engaged. This is important as these children are our future. This town is always looking for ways to engage our youth, and this program is doing just that. We want to keep our swim program running well, and if the temperatures increase, there's going to be an impact on the health and well-being of our children. In short, we're trying to understand the needs and compromise with other pool users so that we can use this facility for the good of us all. We can live with the present pool temperature of 28 degrees, but to increase it would unfairly impact our group. And I want to thank you for your time, and we'd be pleased to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions from council? Thank you very much, by the way. Go ahead, Councillor Rocky.
Thank you, Your Worship. Excellent presentation. But can you answer me what we do with our seniors?
Well, I was talking with one of the parents tonight. We were talking about that, and one option is, and I don't know if this is an acceptable option, they have those thermal rash guards. You can wear extra clothing.
Oh, you want them to dress up now and get into the pool? You want them to dress up so they can get into the pool?
I'm just presenting an option, sir.
You're talking more like a wetsuit.
Well, there's actually shirts that you can put on. It's like a wetsuit, but not as heavy, yes. And we have to compromise.
Any other questions?
I have to say that the master swim team is also, we started that the masters in the spring, and the master swim team will probably hopefully run again in New Year, and they're also very supportive of the temperature of the 28.
Councillor Field?
I just have one question. So in your research and in your presentation and the way you feel as instructors and coaches, do you feel that 29 degrees as a water temperature is safe for young people to be swimming, in lane swimming, competitive swimming?
Well, as I mentioned in our presentation, when the pool temperature was 29, which it was previously, our kids were starting to get sick after they exerted themselves. Our kids are training at a higher level, and we'd hate to have to, basically if we increase the pool temperature, then we're going to have to pull back. I mean, we're going to keep the program running, don't get me wrong, right? Because my children love it, it keeps them so busy, they don't have time to get in trouble, right? It's true, right? So we're going to keep the program running, but we're going to have to pull back. So we have provincial swimmers going to provincials? You know, probably not anymore, right? Because we're going to have to pull back on their training, and we did have kids. And I apologize, I don't have any supporters here tonight because they're either being put to bed or they were at the swimming pool. So, you know, we can pull back. That's an option. But then all of a sudden our program decreases. So.
And we've been working closely with the pool, and
we work really hard to make sure that we have 85 kids, and sometimes managing 85 kids is a challenge. We work very hard. We meet at least monthly with the pool administration to make sure that if we're to handle any complaints, any concerns, we work really hard to try and make this work with everybody.
Do you accept questions from the floor?
It just been Councillor Best, you had a question?
Yeah, as I said previously, when I was younger, I swam with the Burnaby Barracudas, and I know what you're saying about warmer water. You definitely, you come out of it not feeling well, you come out of it dead drag tired. I'm also worried about if you're going to pull back on your program, if you start telling these kids, by the way, we're not going to be swimming for provincials or anything, how many you will lose?
Well, we'll definitely. I don't want to have to do that. You know, as I mentioned in our presentation, we feel that 28 is an excellent compromise for multiple user groups. My son swims, when we go to swimming pools that are cooler than 28, my son's times go down. I mean, it's just a fact. When we go to the Talisman Center, I don't know if you ever swam in the Talisman Center, he complains that it's cold, and it is cold. I think it's around 26. It's around 26, and he flies, right? It's amazing. But this is a multiple group facility, and we have to compromise.
I'll allow one question from the floor.
I wanted to ask, this gentleman has said that he's had regular meetings with the pool. We were unable to even get meetings every second week. I wondered, has he ever thought of having us involved in one of these, and we probably wouldn't be here tonight? I think that there can be my thought is that there can be a compromise. Have always been there when the pool went down drastically 4 meets and went and did our thing, or didn't go for those several days. And I think it was remarked that there was 3 days, and often myself as a participant, there would be as much as a week before or a week after when the pool was uncomfortable. And that was not a complaint from us. We understood that was how it was to be done, to be able to compromise, and did that for many years. The gentleman says that they've been here 6 years. Many of us helped to build that pool, so have been here quite a lot longer. Could we not have been invited to some of these wonderful meetings that you have regularly, and maybe we wouldn't be here now?
Well, point taken, and we'll take that and advise that to administration, okay, and see if we can set up a meeting for you, everybody involved. And thank you very much, very well put. There's no further questions from council?
No, I don't have a question, but I do have a comment.
Okay.
And I know this is not a real great issue that we want to be dealing with, but unfortunately it is our pool and we do have to deal with it. And it has to do with the health of our patrons. So I want to read this letter. I've recently become involved with the Strathmore Silver Shark Swim Club. My daughter Laura is in her first year with the club, and I plan to be involved as a parent volunteer. I also frequently use the pool with my family. I'm consistently impressed with our pool and staff, and I'm proud our town continues to put a high priority on maintaining and developing our pool. Safety and providing access for all patrons have always been important at the pool. Recently, I became aware of a plan to possibly raise the pool temperature out of concern for some of our pool patrons. This plan certainly may benefit some of our patrons, especially those involved in very low aerobic activities. However, I feel most patrons may suffer ill effects from any further increase from the current temperature of 28 degrees. As a family physician, I have extensive experience in recommending exercise. Safe conditions that allow for optimal performance for each individual is important. I've reviewed articles and international guidelines pertaining to pool temperatures, performance, and health indicators. It seems clear to me that a maximum pool temperature no higher than 28 degrees allows for safe, proficient, and enjoyable swimming for all pool patrons. I understand this issue will be difficult for the town and pool management to resolve. Keeping all happy is never possible. In your consideration of this issue, please look at the medical and scientific safety evidence in favor of lower pool temperatures. Thank you for your consideration. Considering my view, sincerely, Dr. Ben Sater, family physician. So I bring that up just to tell everyone that our staff at the pool is not just doing this because they're trying to be mean. They do have the welfare, I believe, the welfare of the patrons, of all their patrons in mind, and I think they have to be, we have to have some faith in some of their decisions as to when they do make these. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to say that I'm not sure that council can really make this decision other than with some recommendations from administration, simply because we're not pool experts in any state, form, or matter. Although that we are here to represent the people, we have two different sides of difference here. So we have to analyze it, the different sides and views, and get advice from administration on it. That's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And after that, before I'm leaving that, I would like to say that we do want a meeting set up with administration on with all the people concerned, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the 5-2 Communities in Bloom. Another councilman.
Good evening, Your Worship. Thank you for allowing me to come and present before you and Councillor and ladies and gentlemen.
And your name is?
I'm Robert Reitweiser. I'm chairman of, if you don't know me, chairman of Communities in Bloom. I'm also Santa's helper, and I come bringing gifts tonight. On the agenda, it does indicate that this is a summary of our activities for the year, and that's not quite right. It's a summary of the judge's evaluation of our community, the Communities in Bloom provincial judges. I have provided for all of you the complete report. I presume you have received that. And I ask that you would read that very carefully. I'm not going to go over that whole thing.
We're going to close the door here for a minute, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Continue.
A lot of time has been spent already on important issues, and I don't want to spend too much time tonight. But I simply want to just say to you how much Communities in Bloom appreciates the support of our town council, our administration, and the whole community in the kinds of things that we're trying to do to make this a better community. There are 6 areas of evaluation that the judges consider when they come to the community. Under those 6 areas, there is a municipal component, a business component, an institution, residential, and a community involvement. So they take all those things into consideration. I simply want to share with you tonight some of the things that they have pointed out that have to do with the municipal responsibility. So this would be the responsibility of the town administration and council. Under one of the areas is tidiness. Under the municipal, the lowest score was for cleanliness of public green infrastructure, parks, streetscapes, sidewalks, planters, and so forth. The observation they made is that the municipal building needs a fresh coat of paint on the front. And I know Councillor Hamilton was going to take that up, and I presume you have already done that. And also that the flowers in the raised beds were dead when the judges came to town. If I could just point out, we missed getting 5 blooms by 1.5 points, 1.5 points. And those 2 areas would have given us 5 blooms. So the town needs to take some responsibility for looking after our municipal buildings and so forth. Another recommendation that has come under heritage conservation is that we need to develop heritage bylaws. Now, I realize that there is a museum committee that has been formed, but we really need to develop bylaws which include more than buildings. We need to have heritage bylaws. And they had suggested that the property near the Flagger Barn be used as a demonstration garden for heritage plants and trees. And I think that's an excellent idea, and perhaps as time goes on, we can be in conversation about that between the community, Mr. Fiber, and Communities in Bloom. Under landscape, municipal, the highest scores were for urban and civic design standards for streetscapes and public spaces and for qualified personnel. And they did make a mention that they talked to some of the park staff and they were very impressed with their knowledge and the work that they are doing. So that was really a high point for the judges. One of the recommendations they need is that we need an attractive welcome to Strathmore on the east and west of the Trans-Canada Highway. And in our last Communities in Bloom meeting, we talked about what we can do as a committee to upgrade the entrance to the town sign out on the highway and so forth. So that's something we hope that we can also be in conversation with the town to make that a little more attractive and help people to realize that there's a beautiful town just off that highway. We received high scores for floral displays, and I can just say this, I've had many people stop me on the street and congratulate Communities in Bloom for the wonderful parks and so forth we've developed, and I have to say, we haven't done that. The town of Strathmore has done it, but we have been an advocate for that, and I must congratulate the town Parks Department for the wonderful work they're doing. They did make a recommendation that we develop more community gardens. We've done one this year. It was highly successful. The community has made many comments about how much they appreciate it. We hope to multiply that in the years ahead. They also suggested that we have a demonstration garden showing native plants. And so that's something also that perhaps we can consider in the years ahead. With that, Your Worship and members of council, I do not have any more to add, except that I want to present to the council the latest award certificate, in which we hope you can display prominently here at the town office. The town of Strathmore was recognized for community partnerships. And I think this is significant because what we do in Communities in Bloom and what we do in this community depends on all of us working together. We've worked hard at developing community partnerships. I spent a lot of time at Tim Hortons doing networking with various members of the community, and it has really paid off. So, Your Worship, if I may, I want to present this to you.
I would ask Councillor Hamilton to be involved, that's his department, so that with the greatest respect, I would like to get involved also.
How about both of you?
Yes. Thank you.
It's not on, I'm sorry. That's not out.
Thank you.
If you have questions, anyone who would like to address me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions from council?
I just have one quick, probably easy one. Can you fill us in on any upcoming projects that you guys are focused on as a group?
Yes, I can. One is the signs on the highways. We want to do something there. We're also looking at, with the Parks Department, of upgrading that sign, the message board in Kinsman parking lot. And so a design concept is being developed in which communities in Bloom would have our insignia on that and make it look a little more attractive. Another project we're hoping to work on this year is to upgrade the entrance to the Civic Center. That kind of ugly looking place where the heavy bark and so forth has blown away. We want to develop that into a really attractive area. That's one of the areas of the community that is used by more than any other place. And so we felt that that's a place where we would like to spend some time and some funds, and we hope to have others join in. We're talking to several other sources of funding to do a project there. And then we would also do in the corners of the entrance to the family center, the hockey rinks. A little feature there where we would have paving stones or something, put some tables and some foliage and so forth to make it an attractive area.
So thank you. Thanks. Thank you very much, Robert, and I want to thank you on behalf of myself and council for the great work that the community of Bloom does. The beauty of the face of the community is so important for people who want to move here. It's a first perception, and if that's off, then it gives a negative impact for the whole community. And you're certainly doing a big job in helping do that and making it look good. And also, like again, to reiterate, you're right. The town parks did a great job this year. They just the parks look fantastic, best ever. So on behalf of everybody, let's thank you and give you a big hand. Thank you. Oh, you're on again, you're the same guy. We're just gonna ask Supply Agree Hill Committee.
I'm Robert Brightleaf. I'm a member of the HEAL Committee, which is a healthy eating, active living, our future. HEAL, our future. We became a part of this as a result of an invitation from the provincial government through the Alberta Recreation and Parks Association, and that was about 5 years ago. And so a group of us have been meeting faithfully over the 5 years, developing initiatives for healthy living and active eating within our community, healthy eating and active living. A part of our initiative is to be join what's called Choose Well. Now, Choose Well is again under the Alberta Recreation and Parks Association, and the idea is that it helps communities like ours develop healthy attitudes and healthy activities, and advocate for things like walking path. We do a great skate in the wintertime. We've had walking initiatives where we challenge people to walk distances. We did the distance to the Great Cup last year, and the previous year we did the walk to the Olympics, and this year we walked around the island of Jamaica. Now this is sort of virtual. People record their steps and so forth. And as a result of some of the things that we've been doing with teenagers and youth, the Choose Well organization has recognized our work and has given us an award. So I want to read to you a portion of the letter that was given to us at an awards banquet last week, and then present to you the award to display prominently here in the town office. And this is addressed to me, but it should be on behalf of our whole committee. Thank you for your participation in the 2011 Communities Choose Well program, and congratulations on being recognized as a high achiever for your efforts to make your community and residents healthier. This year, we received registrations from more than 150 communities across Alberta. Despite the temporary hiatus from 2009 to 2011, we are thrilled that so many communities were excited to participate in Choose Well once again and take local action to address health issues. We continue to be inspired by stories of success. Choose Well leaders have shared with us throughout the year. It's amazing what can happen when some creativity, collaboration, and commitment. Your stories will be shared through the forthcoming publication and so forth. So this letter was presented to me as well as this award, and I want to present this award to Town Council. And I must say, tonight, one of our Choose Well participants was Councillor Fuel, who participated in the Iron Chef competition, which was for high school students. And one of our high school students won that and went to the provincial Iron Chef competition, Abram Lysick. And it was a wonderful event, and appreciated you participating as Councillor Fuel. So I have to present to you this award. It says, to the town of Strathmore, High Achiever, Reducing Barriers to Healthy Living for Tweens and Teens. Tweens and teens are one in between, I think. That probably includes me. So, to present that to you, Your Worship.
I feel guilty taking something like that, so I don't.
Oh, go ahead.
It's an incentive.
It's not big enough.
Isn't Councilor Noble in this department also?
No.
Councillor Field is.
Oh, it's Councilor Neal? Come on up. I didn't know which one, I'm sorry.
It's okay. We didn't win, came second, I think. I made a good sauce.
Everybody was winners.
Show me on the other side.
Okay.
Cheese is like that.
You want to?
Thank you, Robert.
You have maybe just pass on to administration, please. Thank you.
Thank you for your worship and councillors for allowing me this time.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for all your work in this department.
You're very welcome.
So you're not on again, are you?
Not tonight.
Thank you. We did the citizen one, so we're gonna go on to bylaw 6.1, Prairie Edge, part of phase 1, land use amendment, page 19. Go ahead, Danny.
The particular rules goes, so basically the overall decision from the rest of the council was to whether or not this bylaw as written should be passed or adopted. It is consistent with the ownership plan that was adopted approximately a month ago. And the recommended action that we propose is that council provides second reading to bylaw 1124. And council provide third and final reading to bylaw 1124. However, if there are some reservations, the council does have the discretion as well to do any amendments to the bylaw as it is written.
Thank you.
I would move that council provide second reading. I move that second reading be provided to bylaw 11-24.
Heard the motion, any discussion?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Wait, you want the best?
First of all, let me apologize for being a little overzealous earlier. However, I am passionate about this. 36-foot lots are taking us farther down the hill than has been thought of before. The company itself has said that they can make it work as far as density with 39-foot lots. However, it's a matter of simple economics. I'm concerned. We've dropped from 50 to 40, as I said before, 50 to 46 to 39. Now we want to go to 36. As I said before, I have pictures with me of houses in Burnaby that are 12 feet wide with the lots 15 feet wide. I don't want to go there. I don't even want to start down that slope. I cannot vote for this and will not.
Any further comments, Councillor?
Well, just a little bit of history. In June of 2010, after a great deal of discussion, we, council, and I believe it's safe to say somewhat reluctantly, agreed to reduce our lot size from 50-foot, traditional 50-foot to actually 39.39 feet. I think it's 39.39. It's 39 and a bit anyway, so just under 40 feet. And I thought that was a fairly reasonable effort on our part to bring in a what hopefully will be a more affordable price for a housing. Going the extra 4 feet is, yes, it's only 4 feet, but we are concerned about the way things look, and I realize that we're dealing with a quality product here. I have the utmost respect for this this developer and for the ideas they have, but I just don't feel the case has been made. I'm worried to go into a 36-foot lot and set this precedent. I'm comfortable with the 39 and change lot, and I guess that's all I have to say at this point.
Any further comments? Councillor?
Yeah, yes, I'd like to agree with Councillor Sobel. I have a lot of reservations about going to a 36-foot lot frontage. I'm not comfortable with that. I also think that in the discussion here on page 19, it says they want a text amendment to the town's land use bylaw number 89-20, as they are hoping to obtain the flexibility to place a seniors housing extended care facility on the R2 portion of the site. I guess I'm just concerned that the two have to go hand in hand. Do we lose the seniors housing capability if we go to 39 or 40 feet, which is what we have? I don't necessarily want to just go down to a small lot like a 36, and then I don't think the two should be married together. I'm still hoping that they'll be able to do a seniors facility on the R2 portion with us being able to stay at the wider lot. It's mentioned as part of the discussion that the seniors, there's a flexibility that would come from 36-foot lot. At least that's the implication I get. That Prairie's Edge is hoping to obtain the flexibility to place a seniors housing extended care facility on the R2 portion of the site, thus allowing only for a two-story structure and having the allowance of reducing some of the lots to 36 feet. I don't see why the two have to be married or put together at all. And I'm not in favor of going down to lots that are 36 feet wide. Why is it in the discussion then?
I believe they're separate issues though.
Yeah, but it's in the discussion part. So to me, it seems like the two are married together.
That's an unfortunate interpretation. It is not. They are two separate text amendments.
Okay.
And that's clearly noted in the bylaw. The flexibility is just to allow the potential to put that senior facility because it is not a listed or prescribed use in the R2. And then there is that separate one for that specific area for the 36-foot wide lots. So we apologize for the wording in there, however, they are two separate items.
Okay, that's all I wanted to hear.
Yeah, all the comments here are very valid, and I'd say I make my own comments. I'm excited about the possibility of having another seniors housing extended care facility if we do go to 36. With the smaller lots, there obviously would be smaller homes, which I think would be more affordable to a lot of people coming into town. And I want to reiterate Councillor Rempel's comments here a week or so ago. The previous council spent much time in annexing land here so we could develop. And I think with the possibility of going to a 36-foot lot, this would allow for quicker development of the area. And you always got to look at the idea of more taxes. And I think the quality of the housing would be superb. I see some head shaking out there.
Councillor Best.
Your Worship, I don't know if we can separate these two and have them voted on separately. So can that be done?
Okay, go ahead.
Your Worship, you can amend the bylaw, so therefore if you're not comfortable with the reduction of the lots, you can eliminate that provision so that that text amendment does not go forward. However, if you are comfortable with the senior facility in the R2, we do need to have that in as a site exception. So council does have the opportunity to amend at this time the bylaw as it is written. So therefore, you can continue with the land use amendment and the one text amendment if that's what council wishes to agree to.
Because that's what I would like to do, is eliminate the smaller lots and leave the seniors there to vote on the seniors. So if it means changing the alteration of the bylaw, then that's what I would be for, yes.
Any further comments? Councillor Rocky.
Excuse me, Your Worship, through the Tammy here, this land use amendment here, is this specific just to this developer subdivision we're talking about here? Or if we go to the 36-foot lots, are we going to open the floodgates to any other developers?
Your Worship, it is specific for this area only. That's why it is a text amendment to the land use bylaw. But again, a developer can come in and request the same thing. But I mean, that's up to them to make that proposal. But at this point in time, yes, it is specific to this site only and to actually that low portion as was depicted in the applicant's presentation. So each application that would potentially request reduction in the size of lots would have to come in for another text amendment. So that would be at their request.
Your Worship, if I could just add to that, I think if we do move to this 36 feet lot width, it does set a precedent, and there will be other developers coming forward to bring these site exceptions coming to us regularly. So I'm not comfortable with this.
Any further comments? I would like to say that I'm in favor of dropping it down 36 feet simply because all the other communities, and if we want to compete in this world, we're going to have to compete with other communities. We had 20 new starts this year, and that is an indication as to why we only had 20 new starts, a part of it all, and not blaming it all on that. But Airdrie and other communities, which I've checked out, Airdrie had 800 and some starts this year, and most of them, or a highest percentage of them were under 40 feet of their lots. Chestermere is the same thing. I'm asking council with the greatest respect to take a look at that. When you look at those plans, you couldn't tell, most people could not tell the difference between a 36 and a 40-foot lot by a drive-by on a visual. And I've been in real estate for 40 years, and I can tell you what, I can't tell. So, and I measure lots every day. Excuse me, when I was in the business. If we want to, like I said, if we want to continue with not having anything happen here, we have 18.5 sections, a quarter section of land. If we don't start doing something and respect what other communities are doing, we're going to be left high and dry. I would challenge council to come with me on a tour to these other areas anytime, and we'll drive by what these 36 and less, by the way, lots look like developed, and I think that's a fair request. A estate lot in Calgary is 40 feet, and that's called an estate lot at $400 and some $1,000. We must take those things into consideration. That's all I've got to say. You heard the motion. No further comments, no questions. Do you want to amend the motion? Or is it?
Your Worship, I would move that we amend bylaw 11-24 to exclude section 201.168. Is that bylaw 24 or 20?
It is bylaw 24, however, it is applicable to section 110A of our land use bylaw, which is numbered 89.
Yeah.
You got that? Sure? Okay.
I'm right. Yeah.
And council got that clear? You all heard the amendment to the motion?
So just a question, you're taking out the 36 foot?
I'm taking out, I made a motion to remove the 36-foot possible.
Or you could put in a footage?
Just goes to our land use bylaw after that, which is 39.4.
Your worship, is it possible to have the new amended bylaw read back to us then?
Yes. How would we like to read, or how is it supposed to read?
What's on page 20?
Sorry, I don't have my reading glasses, so I have to do recording it.
Here.
Bylaw number 11-24 of the town of Strathmore in the province of Alberta, being a bylaw of the town of Strathmore in the province of Alberta to amend the land use bylaw number 89-20, under authority of and pursuant to the provisions of the Municipal Government Act, revised statutes of Alberta 2000 and amendments thereto, the Municipal Council of the town of Strathmore in the province of Alberta hereby enacts as follows. 101. Part 3, comprising the land use district map, is amended as follows. To change the land use designation for a portion of Northwest Quarter 24-24-25 west of 4th Meridian, 7.02 hectares or 17.36 acres within the town of Strathmore from AG Agricultural General District to R1N Residential Narrow Lot Single Detached District plus or minus 3.37 hectares, 8.34 acres. R2 Residential Mixed Housing District plus or minus 1.18 hectares, 3.92 acres, and P1 Public Service District plus or minus 0.73 hectares, 1.81 acres, as shown on the attached Schedule A. 201, amend land use bylaw number 89-20 by adding to section 120, subsection 6, exceptions, a new C, that the R2 area located at the southwest corner of a portion of Northwest Quarter 24-24-25 west of 4th Meridian, as shown on the attached Schedule A of bylaw number 1124, add extended medical treatment services and senior housing as discretionary uses. 301, this bylaw shall come into full force and effect upon the date of third and final reading.
So what happens to the 36 law in there? What happens to that portion of the bylaw?
That will no longer exist.
So what, they have to come back with another proposal?
The developer will have to abide by the R1N standards.
Just 39.4.
The current R1 standards, which is 39.4 feet for a lot width. That's correct.
You all heard the motion, no further discussion and comments? All in favor? Opposed? Motion defeated.
I move that council provide third and final reading to bylaw 11-24.
You all heard the motion?
I would like this as a recorded vote, please.
Just want to be clear here that this is now no 36-foot lots, okay?
No,
There's no 36 votes in this vote.
No, the motion was defeated.
No,
You can't do third
No,
reading.
you can't do
Oh, no,
third
I'm
reading.
sorry, pardon me.
Yeah, we can't do a third reading.
The
I don't
motion
think
was
so.
defeated.
Yeah. So they have to come back with another presentation, right? This has never happened before. We're kind of confused.
At this point in time, I think it's probably best to ask that council not provide third reading so that potentially we could further discuss this issue with the applicant to determine whether or not they are agreeable as well with the change. And then possibly if council believes that there's another public hearing that should be heard with respect to the changes or next proposal, again, I would have to speak to the applicant in regards to that. We may have to, because we've got a split vote, so it's going to
Well,
be.
you have to either, you move the bylaws written and it'll talk, and then there's gonna be a suggestion for another bylaw that may.
But that motion was defeated, there's no change to this.
The amendment was defeated.
The amendment was defeated.
Okay.
So why cannot we not go to third reading?
We have to vote on the amendment first.
We did.
We did.
And it was defeated.
Okay, now we vote on the motion as presented. The way it should go.
Right, so we do second reading on the motion
On the motion itself.
That's already been done, second reading. Third
No,
reading is.
you voted the amendment. You voted the amendment.
Vote now.
We opened this discussion with second reading on the bylaw.
Second reading on the bylaw.
Yes.
Yeah, second reading on the bylaw was not
The
voted.
amendment was defeated, and now we're going to third reading.
Well, we haven't voted on second reading,
But we do have to, the council
Vote on second.
right? We need to vote on second reading.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. So I'd like a motion on
It's already done.
who did it?
I did.
Bob did. That's right, too. Okay, sorry. All in favor of the motion? As presented, right?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion defeated. No? Yeah, right, yeah.
Mr. Mercer?
Yes?
Can we take a 5-minute break?
Yes.
I want to talk to the applicant.
Okay. Motion for 5-minute adjournment? All in favor? Carried.
Whatever we can do.
Okay.
Sorry, I just want to check.
Sure.
Oh, it's no, and you mentioned you have interest in
Yes.
36 people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine, yes, myself. We actually did, Johnny Bear did an article, I think she's submitted it to both papers, so hopefully your sports guys should get it. Just like me.
Oh, okay, so.
So, it's 43620.
Because it looks like it runs residential.
Thank you.
A big vehicle like that.
Yeah, thanks for coming, you guys.
Yeah.
So why even build something like that?
I'm just curious, are they all?
You know? But did they change the law so that the bylaw doesn't have to be 25 feet from the door?
No.
I'm just not giving you a Zoom,
They defeated it.
My wife has vasculitis, and she wears one of those purple shirts, and she goes, can you do that?
No, I think what I was waiting for there.
I know, but I didn't understand. Really hard to get literally have kids getting sick. And then they actually know the temperature. No, I just got
But I thought they had to be so big.
Well,
The property.
we go out, we will.
So then you could only build
What are you thinking about right now? Do you think this thing here, or do you think that goes
And there's one over the road, and they wouldn't give it to you. Now they're talking about building on a ship. So-
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That was pretty confusing. I have no idea what you were trying to do.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But, you know, one of my concerns is, all these kids going to school, they get this made in houses, where are they going to live in houses?
Yeah, and the pool house.
With them?
Halfway.
Land use from agriculture to whatever. Is that not one motion?
Thank you very much.
Did you, by the way, on a different subject, did you get a lot of phone calls from complaints about patrol burn over there? You did? My view, suffered the whole day. It's done.
Director plan. Right, that's everybody. Come again.
Cooler jets?
Indoors, at least?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, keep on non-fire?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Probably, yeah. Thank you very much.
At least
I guess, but it's all day.
So it's fun to go.
We're done.
Sorry?
Yes.
Where are you now? Which side was that? Same side? No, she's sitting down. Same place.
Wheels of government.
Sorry? No, I haven't been in there. Never been.
I don't think, probably only seen a few. We'll be having 40.
Two. It keeps going
All the
around.
way upstairs, it goes here.
Did she find she?
Strathmore out there, Chestnut up there, or where they want. Yeah, that's what. You go to Toronto.
Well, that's.
I hope you thought, what the hell you thought? Should I thought a guest house or something?
The dog house.
Oh, that's right, you said he was going to.
Jennifer, I can't send you my report because I can't get it. Have you got a connection? Why can't I? I will. But why don't I have connection? I've never had a problem getting a connection here.
Oh, they both left.
I can close the door, can't you?
They're freezing us out in here.
$15 lot, 12-foot house.
And then we live in Munster. I know, I didn't even see, I mean, I've never been so
15-foot lot.
And then 10, and a 5, and a 2.
Thank you, David.
Just sort of step each other.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
You can approve with amendments.
It's the old, it's been refurbished along the student house.
Yeah, it's coming into
It's in the home. So you go up the stairs and then there's
No.
2 in there for it.
So, our date rate ratio is you recommended that we raise taxes once, that we reduce our expenditures.
Part of that, in here?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there you go.
This year, portion,
You can turn around and say that.
this year,
Yeah, just make sure that that's the truth. I'm not sure if that's true, that the 9 million is pushing us up to 67. I'm not sure what part of that is, because it's part of that is paid for in other ways. Some of that is not, it's not all let alone. So, yes. I think so, yeah. Now, I'm due for issue.
Director of Corporate Services. Finance. In town.
If I did it, well, I didn't think they could do business during a council meeting, they can break to do business.
Recess and go to caucus.
Huh?
Recess and go to caucus.
They can recess the discussion.
In the caucus.
Yeah. Yeah, but why are they discussing it when it's defeated? Yes, get more defeated.
I'm gonna go out for a swim.
You know what, I'm really not, because of Yeah, we could, but that bear in mind that it's not we didn't do that.
I can't make it. I apologize for the delay, folks. There's some confusion on this. Thank you very much. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Who's gonna read this one?
Okay. Can I have a motion to reopen the meeting, please?
I move that we reopen the regular council meeting.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. There was a bit of confusion about how this whole thing was going down, and administration had some discussion with administration, and there is a motion that we can put on the books, and administration can explain it as to why, but the motion would read what?
I make a motion that council postpone bylaw 11-24 to the December 21st, 2011 regular council meeting.
But, okay. We're getting some the owner of this whole thing is down in the equator, so they're on the phone to him. And it would save a lot of problems if we got some answers tonight. And you have an answer for us, Ms. Henry?
I wish I did, Your Worship. However, the applicant would like to approach Your Worship and council if possible.
And that's, we do have a motion on the book, and if that's okay with council, just asking for the respect and the approach to the council, future, when is the date?
December 21st.
December 21st meeting? That's what we're asking for, that we give him the owner the time to give us some answers.
My only concern is, does it go against the fact that we defeated the motion and then now we're delaying the motion that's been defeated and we're delaying it till December 21st? I don't understand.
Yeah, no, it's, like, we haven't been able to get a hold of Mr. Wilson, but we did speak with the president of Prairie Merchant Corporation, David Richardson. And we explained the situation, what council's concerns were here, and, you know, perhaps we're an unproven entity here. And I think the decision that we'd like to proceed with is the 40-foot lots, standard bylaw, with the ability to facilitate the seniors assisted living. But I can tell you honestly, we would come back and try the 36 again, because the 40s are going to tell us how quickly they will be absorbed in this market. I think, and that's more to Mr. Mayor's point. And so we just want to do business in the town. That's the point here tonight. We have an objective with a lot to make an affordable housing choice. To move some product. That's not going to happen. We don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Is council not comfortable with this motion? And all we're asking is for time for interpretation by the owner.
I agree with Councillor Fuel, if the motion's been defeated, I mean, there's nothing stopping these people from coming back to us. But we don't need a motion to say that they can come back to us. They can come back to us. If they want to change that to 39 or 40-foot lots, we don't need that. We don't need a motion for them to come back. They can do that the amendment to what they've given us tonight, or to the changes that they've given us tonight. We don't need a motion. We don't.
But this delay for 6 months. Yes.
From what I understand, second reading still has not been provided. That's the main issue. Because the amendment was defeated.
Right, then we voted on second reading.
What's our standing?
You can withdraw the motion. Withdraw the motion before we finish the reading, and then go for third reading.
However, what happened was the motion was made for second reading. Then there was an amendment. We had to vote on the amendment. The amendment was defeated, so we voted on second reading because that was the motion first off, and that was defeated.
That's correct. Councilor Best is right.
Yeah.
I tried to explain that earlier on, but yeah. Yeah.
But
Yes.
council does have the ability to rescind that motion, because now we have, is it 6? Because now we have the agreement to revert back to the standard R1N standards, because we weren't sure at that time. But again, that's up to council to determine that. And I think it's just that the applicant would like to know the decision. Otherwise, if you defeat the bylaw, you would have to wait 6 months to apply again.
I asked that question during the hearing, and you said it would automatically revert to R1N. How was your answer?
Sorry?
The way it sits right now, it would revert to R1N, and I asked that question during the public hearing. And you said it would now just remain at R1N.
If it was a successful motion,
Yes.
it would. But it wasn't. It was defeated.
That's right.
No, then what was defeated was it was a 36 foot, not the R1N, which is 40 feet, right?
No, that's when we defeated the second
The
reading.
original motion was an amended motion to remove that one text amendment, right?
Yeah.
For second reading.
That's right.
But then it was to then do a second reading as the bylaw stands with the land use and the two text amendments.
And that the lots, instead of being 36, would revert back to, my interpretation of the answer was, no?
No, it wasn't, no. Because the second motion had to deal with the bylaw as it stands, so it was with 36.
No, but during the public hearing, I asked the question, and I'm trying to clarify that. What would those lots, not going to be 36 foot, what would be revert to?
Would we stay at the original bylaw, or would we stay at the original?
Yes, if the text amendment was not passed.
That's what I asked them, so they're at the original bylaw now, so we don't really need anything.
Except for you defeated the second reading of the bylaw as it stands, with the second vote.
Right. And before that can come back again, it's 6 months, right?
For an application, that's correct. Because if it's similar in nature to the MGA, you have to wait 6 months for another application.
That's what I'm trying to get at, Councilor Best, is that all I'm asking for is a delay in this, and that's what the motion reads, until the owner can come back and make a presentation to us.
I'm all in favor of that, but I just want to make sure that we can do that.
Yeah, I don't know if we can.
According to administration, we can.
Anybody want to give me a section that allows us to do that?
Yes.
May we have the opportunity to investigate this a little bit further? I think we have to get some advice on this through municipal affairs and through legal counsel.
So let's just let everything just sit tonight without any further motions, and what happens?
Put it back on the 21st.
It'll come back on the 21st?
We can tentatively we can put it as an agenda item on the 21st, if we can bring it up.
If it's legal counsel, and you can add it to the motion, that if it's legal, we'll bring it back on the 21st. And administration will check out the legality of it. And if it's not legal, the dead motion.
Well, I'd be more interested in finding out if we can rescind this, because there's some suggestion from administration. Can we just take another 10 minutes, Your Worship, and maybe if we can rescind it and allow for that motion, then it would be nice to do it tonight. But I think this is the time we should be doing it, if we're going to do it.
Exactly, yeah, so that's what I can do. Let's take another motion for recess again, please. All in favor? Carried.
I'm going to form a block, okay, at home.
Rocky Jane is right. No, this is one done. We'll do this, we'll go ahead. Yeah. There. Who was that one? Yeah? Yeah, go back, yeah. One is hard. Okay.
We still want to be in a 6 month.
I hear you, yeah.
What's that?
It should be dead, it should be done.
That's that's my take on it. But they're taking away the legal counsel right now. So, I want this development to happen. I really do. I just don't want to have right now to talk about it. So
It's almost like willing to give away anything, so it's, it's just ridiculous. So just look at the camera and think about it, it's gonna be the same goal. Should be sitting in these chairs, I love this. This is just It's just a moment. It's all. Yeah, it's just a moment. No, I guess it's something. Even though the dog show, gone, gone. No, I understand. He just wants, Steve wants to ask. I think you're right.
I could have still said that.
Yeah, you probably could. And then we can
So
back
what
to
issue
you.
are you on?
I'm still there.
Oh, yeah, I'm really-
I'm trying to walk.
business.
Right for weekends, and let people come in.
Oh, so that's not the old system.
No.
Yeah.
It's after old business.
I don't know, do you know
It's
the
after the
state
meeting.
business? Yeah, so then, so the town gets you. So the county has non. They must have lots of. Oh, so what did these guys pay for the?
Well, you were sitting here when you did that.
Oh, yeah, right, no, but I meant, you know.
So they better have money. Huh? Yeah, the town cannot buy it for the town. The town's selling theirs for less than I understand.
I'm the manager.
It's not on this line.
Four of them. We don't follow around.
You, yeah.
Definitely not.
Nobody comes to these things.
I know that you don't follow.
Close right there.
But you don't follow, but you can't.
When we said something about how cold it was gonna be in the morning, and I said, that's a joke, we won't be here. Supposed to get cold.
Are you into the procedural bylaw there?
Mine's been.
Yeah.
With the wind. But really, I don't think it's not the right now. But it's supposed to apply to.
No, it's not in there. I think it's in Robert's rules, but we don't follow Robert's rules, so we are going to
So what do you follow?
try our procedural bylaw.
Steve's rules. What? Yeah. 99% of the legal things follow Robert's rules, but most of the times.
It's what, 99% of businesses in government. When they prestige level. Well, they got it. That's why they know it's just because he said it. I'm gonna ask him. He said Linda, what rules do they follow if it's Robert's rules?
Well, we have a procedural bylaw that we follow.
A what?
A procedural bylaw.
A procedural bylaw. And where do you get that?
We get it from lawyers.
From where?
The lawyers.
From lawyers. So you make up your own?
No, we get it a legal review, right?
From
lawyers.
Is the bylaw already in place?
Yes.
There's the answer, the procedural bylaw is already in place.
Yeah.
Is it on your website? It's on your website? I work very hard to see you have something to do.
What's that?
Yeah, I have 2 weeks on, but
It's a policy, not a bylaw. It's a policy, not a bylaw.
So they don't follow Robert's Rules of Order like 99% of the people that I know. So what rules of order do they follow? They just make up their own policies?
Well, we have to follow the MGA, the Municipal Government Act.
They have what?
We have to follow the Municipal Government Act.
Yeah, I realize that.
So you would have a policy writer, and then you have a legal review to make sure that it's legally correct, right? You don't have to follow through as long as
No, most do. Most do.
Some do.
Most government things I've ever had anything to do on that. So it's procedural policy, not bylaw.
It's a policy.
And it's on your website.
It should be.
Curious. I'll look it up.
Policies are not on our website.
Are you gonna have time tomorrow to talk about that other thing? Because the meeting's tomorrow night. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm just thinking, you know, is it really worth it anymore?
Jennifer and I are going to be talking about it tomorrow. I need to look at the RFP.
Mm-hmm.
I said I need to look at the RFP. I haven't
Okay.
seen it.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you had. By the way, Jennifer. Okay. Because I sent it in to make sure that it was what they're looking for. I don't want to spend the money and then find out this is what we want. And it sounds to me definitely not what they want. So, but we're in December. How long is it going to take? Well, yeah. This is one of the good stories. This guy almost 30,000. I have a question. It's common services.
Common services.
It's on the operating budget.
Yes, common services are equipment.
Like track operator, lawnmowers.
Yeah, I'm not sure the lawnmowers are in here, but it's equipment.
Like standing. Cost of maintaining it or the actual?
Well, the actual equipment is,
That's what I was thinking, I was saying equipment.
maintaining and operating the equipment.
So it's actual cost of maintaining it.
Because the other side was.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And is that, like, if you have to stand alone, is that under Alexandria?
No, those, the cost is the same. What is the salt or everything on the road. It's under these.
And Jane enforcement.
That's a bylaw. Peace officers and bylaw people.
So in 2011, the cost is 61,000, in 2012, now it's 16,000.
You have? With very much.
Okay, so then we had money coming in for 61,000, and now there's only 60, why the difference? Is it like government grants, or what happens? What do you?
Could be fines, it could be foreign grants, it could be more
Because
everything.
I thought I saw fines somewhere else, but anyway, okay.
There'll be a number of things, I can't tell you exactly what it is, because the revenue is made up of a number of things. Finance is part of it.
Okay.
I remember when I came down, actually living in that house up here, paying 1850.
And WRCS, is that just a grant money that comes through, through the town?
The revenue is yes.
Okay.
And the expense side, the grant is an expense, and plus the town contribution.
And the county is what, 20%, the county is maybe?
No, I don't think that's.
What is it?
I don't know how
Well,
much.
the FCS is run by the county and the town. At one time, I think they told me it was 80-20.
There's other, and village contributions. But yes, it's separate.
But doesn't that go through the county?
Yeah.
Portion?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's good.
You might be 100%, but I'm not sure.
That's what they said. That's what they-
Just whatever. Did you call? Take a photo. I went back to the second day after the
And seasonal.
Seasonal,
Yeah.
seasonal employees to the outside maintenance work.
Is that a cat?
You won't leave?
She's got a tattoo.
I would think so. I didn't look at that.
She's looking at something straight.
I guess, yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah, I just thought it was one of the first cat or whatever, just kind of walked.
They're beautiful.
Followed me around.
Well, parks, wouldn't that
He
be part
wasn't
of it?
inside.
Oh,
He just
have you?
come. I made sure he was out last
Oh,
night.
some of us
But he kept following through all the work.
so I think this is probably just the
Office and
maintaining.
stuff.
That's
You're
what
under.
it has, right?
So then I said, without even closing them, as soon as I closed the gates, just beeline it to me and then rubbing around all the area.
Not additional.
So then I thought I was gonna go
additional.
home and this morning I said, open the door.
453,000 just to maintain the
Cats and shop. Just walked around. Yeah. It's big heater blower right on the one corner. And he's curled up in the ball like right inside the dog box. Sleeping there all morning. Then
Well, every
the
meeting
cat
I have them.
got out and went
And the annexation.
and the guy goes, open the drawer, it's in the drawer. Sleep.
That's right.
If they do something, when they move,
They move.
oh, so that's not right.
That's not
I
my
said, you guys better get that when you leave.
Yeah. So they said, yeah.
Yeah. So now we're in trouble.
Yeah, I know.
It's a young one.
Electronic center
I'll light it up.
is already up to
Your alarm off, you know, it's a big shop.
And if we turn off the
The
heat,
I'm sure
half
there's
the
a lot of
degree,
places you can hide.
Yeah.
over $2 million.
The bigger Most of them, I should say.
You still sleeping in there?
So that would be that too? Is that
In the aquatic center?
Must have ran all night.
So they can just been sleep, the water utilities for the building.
No, that's alone would be, probably expensive. But there seems to be a lot of people using that. There's a lot of seniors.
No, he's like a
So what,
more area of black and straight.
they have contracts, like sugar sex ones and that type of thing. Did you, like, you get a cut from whoever you deal with, like, because you have so many, that type of.
That contract rate,
Yeah.
it's probably lesser than
The
individual, that would go in and say.
It's the one as well, so.
It's just like mine.
So does that apply for all, like the community center, people if they have them, council people, people that are under you, like FCSS and that, would that rate apply for that?
No, then we have CSS. We have a grant to that, they're on their own. We don't do any of their administration.
Okay, so they would qualify to be under your rate for.
They may get
Like stationary and stuff like that.
They
Because
get
then
the
you
same
get.
rate, but
They would get the same rate. Oh, it makes sense. In Calgary?
Yeah. 5 years
Your worship, I would make motion to restart the regular meeting.
All in favor? Again, I apologize, we're not calling parliamentarians here, this is a difficult one. It was never brought forward before, so really no one is looking back here. I know that it looks like we are, but this has never happened before. So I apologize to all you folks waiting here for us, but again, it was a very difficult one. So we're gonna have a couple of motions that are gonna come forward. And one is by Councilor Bob Sobel.
Yes, Your Worship, I would move that council reconsider the.
Just a minute, no, sorry, yeah. We do have a motion on the floor that's it.
Oh, yes.
I'll rescind that motion, Your worship.
All in favor? Carried.
Okay, and I would move that council reconsider the results of the second reading of bylaw 11-24.
Anyone want any interpretation of that? Which no one here is capable of. And I say that with the best of intent. So that puts us back to, you have to pass it, and it opens it up to, they can come back with the same plan on 36 lots later, for prior to 6 months. Am I getting that correct?
Well, not at this point.
No.
It'll be the next motion, your worship.
That'll come to the next
In
motion.
order for us to bring this back, it has to be approved by 2/3 of council.
That's right. Okay, so we can discuss that next one on the next motion. All in favor? Carried. Now we need a motion to leave it open. And what is that motion? How do we want to read that?
No.
No, it's a reconsideration of the amendment.
Okay, that's right. That's correct.
Okay, I'll make a motion to reconsider the amendment in regards to, file number 11-24.
And this has to pass by 2/3 also? Yes. You all heard the motion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much.
So now we're back at our motion that I made, your worship, about 4 or 5 days ago. And I moved at that time that bylaw 1124 be passed with the exception of section 201, subsection 1, sub 6, sub A, which dealt with minimum lot width of 36 feet. And that is my motion, my amendment. Or I'm sorry, my
That's right,
amendment.
Correct.
That we deal with that.
That my motion is to amend bylaw 1124 to,
By removing 201.
by removing section 201.
Okay. You all understand that clearly? No? Question?
No, just a friendly amendment to that would be section 201, subsection 1.
Yeah, I said that. Sub 1, sub 6, sub 8.
Right.
And this allows them to bring it back.
It's brought back to
It is back.
It is back. It's back.
Yeah, okay. All in favor? Carried. Any more motions on this?
We need a
Third bell reading.
vote on second reading.
Yes,
We need a vote because it was brought back.
It was brought back.
So we need a vote on second reading.
That's correct, yeah.
I move the council, provide second reading to bylaw number 11-24 as amended.
Is that the right phrasing? Correct, yeah. All in favor? Any discussion? I'm voting in favor. If there's no further discussion, sorry about that. Thank you. All carried. Now we need third and final reading.
I move that council provide third and final reading of bylaw 11-24.
You all heard the motion. There be no further discussion. All in favor? Carried.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you. We'll have an attorney here on this for next time. Thank you. Names and project committee recommendations. Oh, sorry. Canal Crossing 6-2. 1126, sorry. Got a question here. And 25 o'clock. Page 25.
I move that the council provide first reading to bylaw 11-26.
You all heard the motion, all in favor? Carried.
Your worship, I move that council refer bylaw 1126 to the public hearing scheduled for January the 18th, 2012.
Correct. All heard the motion, all in favor? Carried. New business, 8-1 at Names Advisory Committee. Are you representing them? Okay, go ahead.
Your worship, 2 applications had come in for an application for a new community name as well as an application to rename a street. The second one actually we had to get additional clarification because there were some different interpretations of what the actual request was. The first is the application for a new community name, and excuse me, it is for the almost quarter section north of Hillview, and the proposal is North Hill Heights. The Names Advisory Committee provided the recommendation to you, myself, the addressing officer, that council approve the proposed new community name of North Hill Heights as shown in, excuse me, on the attached Schedule A of your agenda. And the second, excuse me, request is renaming of East Lake Road between George Freeman Trail and Thomas Drive. Excuse me, I still haven't quite finished with my bullet that I had. And the Names Advisory Committee recommended that the renaming of the road be Centennial Drive, as shown as in the attached schedule B in your, excuse me, in your package.
Thank you. Any questions, Councilor Best?
Your Worship, I would request that these two are voted on separately.
Of course. Appreciate it. You're right. Looking for the first motion on the first one?
I would move that the proposed community name North Hill Heights from Schedule A is approved.
All in the motion, any questions or discussion? All in favor? Carried. Second motion on the second item.
I move the council approve the proposed renaming of East Lake Road to Centennial Drive as per Schedule B.
You all heard the motion. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor?
No. Question?
Oh, sorry.
Mine?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just one question. I think I know the answer to this, but will that affect any residents along that section in regards to having to change their address or their stationery? Is this a monetary cost to any of the residents along that stretch?
No, there's no change.
Thank you.
Councilor Best?
Your Worship, this was a hot item with the Names Advisory Committee, which I sit on. As you can see, the first vote ran a tie, and there was much discussion at the second meeting. I feel that this is changing the name of a street simply for the name of changing a street. And I am, as have always been, not for this changing of a name, and will stay that way.
Who would have brought forward that request?
There's a letter there, Your Worship. I can't speak to it.
Oh, Debbie.
Your Worship, if I could add a comment, though.
Yeah, comment.
I just think that East Lake Road is kind of a misleading name compared to what its function is. It's not really a lake that it's east of. It's more of a marsh or a wetlands. So it could be East Wetlands Road. I think to celebrate the centennial, it could be one further thing that the centennial of our town celebrates, and that is we put in a great number of trees on that road to beautify it, to help provide a barrier from the traffic on Centennial, or sorry, not on that, but on East Lake Road. So the fact that it's a little more accurate of a name, it celebrates our centennial, and it celebrates the fact that we've done a lot to plant trees and beautify the street. That's why I'd be in favor of changing the name to Centennial Drive.
Any further comments?
I like it. I think it's a great name.
Yeah, it leads up to city center. There was a motion on the floor. All in favor? Carried. Okay.
Thank you, Tammy.
Opposed? Sorry. I did not have you look at opposed. How did you want to record a motion? 82, Mel, operating capital budget, $37, please.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Council.
Good evening.
The budget is in front of you on pages 39 through 42. The first several pages. The first 3 pages are operating. Page 42 is the capital budget. In summary, within the budget, property tax in total has increased by 3.5% over the actual of this current year. There's no decrease in services to town residents, no budgeted increase in water or sewer rates, and no increase in the franchise fee agreements within the budget. The total operating budget is $25.1 million in revenue and transfer payments. $1.3 million of that is from the provincial and federal governments. The capital budget on page 42 is just over $10 million, of which $9 million is for the construction of the wildflower reservoir. The capital budget is funded by provincial grants at 33%, from reserves at 35%, long-term debt borrowing at 31%, and that is $3.2 million, and other 1%. The capital budget includes the engineering for the reconstruction of Thomas Drive at $388,000. Parks Department pathway installation at $180,000. Playground equipment replacements and additions of $76,000. With the borrowing of the $3.2 million, the town will be at approximately 67% of its borrowing capacity as we now measure it. It's intended that the borrowing bylaw would come forward early in the new year with funding of that borrowing in June of 2012.
For every $100,000 we borrow, what is the ratio again? Or tax goes up?
For every
100,000.
100,000. For every 90,000 of additional operating expenses, our taxes go up 1%.
Operating.
Yes, on the operating side.
Correct.
The net municipal taxes out of the 14 million, 9 million stays within the town. So if we were to increase taxes $900,000, that would equate to a 10% tax increase.
Any questions, council?
Yeah. You were saying that there'll be no hike in the water rates, the sewer rates, or franchise fees. Is that simply for the fact that we raised them all this year?
Well, there's nothing within the budget moving those rates ahead for 2012.
Go ahead.
The question I have is the reservoir is a big part of the capital budget, and that's also to provide for a certain number of days as far as emergency water for the town.
Correct.
Can you tell me, or tell us, I guess, what that would bring us up to with this new reservoir?
The information that was presented at a workshop was 4.2 days, I believe.
And we're currently at, I thought it was at 1.75?
In that area.
Okay, so this will bring us up to a standard where the town has a good amount of emergency water then? Because right now we have undersupplied ourselves.
Correct.
Okay.
Any questions, Councilor Rocky?
Your worship, I don't really have a question, that's more of a comment or a statement here. I'm a little concerned pushing this, with the capital budget, with the reservoir, pushing this number up to 67%. I find this number getting to be at an unacceptable level. If we get into a major, untimely, unplanned, costly project which could come forward at any time in the near future, we are in trouble. 67%, that's going to seriously, if you think about it, we could be looking at 70, 75%. I think we better think about this very carefully. Particular some items in the capital budget, and of course I'm referring directly to that reservoir. I still say we don't need something this big, we don't need something this pricey, we can wait for 10, 12 years, we can retro it, we can do add-ons, whatever the case is down the road. This 67% climbs much higher. That number might be riskier than having a 2-day water supply from what I can see. I think we're getting into things right at the moment at this point in time and day. We can't afford a $9 million reservoir.
Any further comments?
Through the chair to our CAO, Dwight, what is required from, as far as Environment Alberta, as far as that goes? As far as the reservoir?
For water supply days.
Water supply days.
I don't think, I haven't seen anything in particular on that. You know, it's always nice. A day, 1.75 days is not enough. We've got to have more water than that. But environment don't say it. I've never heard them say it. How much?
Well, weren't we at another meeting, wait, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Weren't we at another meeting a while back, already approving this 388,000? So that has already been approved, as far as I'm concerned, am I not correct in that?
No, it's still part of it.
It's part of the capital budget.
Right. But it was a motion approving it already, so we can't even take it out unless we want to rescind the motion.
I'm not sure, I'm not aware of a motion on it.
Well, when you presented it a while back on the cost of it, there was a motion on it, on the cost of the engineering.
Those are two different things. That's the engineering for Thomas Drive. That's not for the reservoir.
That's not for the reservoir. What are you guys talking about the reservoir in here?
The construction of the reservoir is.
That's part of the capital budget for 2012.
Are you thinking of the design of the reservoir?
Yes, yeah.
That was in 2011. This is for the construction.
Okay, all right, thanks, sorry. Yes, go ahead.
You know, I guess I just want to say, you know, nobody's happy with the fact that taxes have to go up 3.5%. 3.5% on average is about $70 to $80 a residence, I think, and that's not a small amount, but we have big items, and the reservoir, as has been discussed at numerous meetings that we've had, budgeting meetings, etc., is a big ticket item, but it's also necessary, in my opinion anyway. It's a necessary item. This has to do with fire safety. This has to do with adequate water to protect our town. Our water comes from Calgary, and if something unforeseen happens that breaks that pipe half a mile outside of Strathmore, then we don't have much time to supply our water. We need a secondary source. This is just a safety issue. It's a health issue. And as much as I don't want to get into a $9 million loss at this time, I just feel it would be very irresponsible on my part to not ensure that this town of 12 to 13,000 people has adequate fire protection and water for health purposes. And I'm aware that the administration have had a lot more meetings than we did on this matter, cutting this budget down to where it is. Nobody's happy with it, but I certainly have been impressed with the cuts that our departments have made to bring it down to 3.5.
Councillor Gill?
I am in agreement with Councillor Sobel. I really hate the idea of having to increase property taxes by 3.5% and having such a large big ticket item of the reservoir, but I do agree that as far as emergency water supply and fire and health, it's a necessity that has to be done. And it's just unfortunate it's come when we've also changed the water pricing to go to volume-based pricing.
One additional comment, if I could make, if we have a 1% growth in the town this year, that will reduce the tax bill from the 3.5 to, say, 3 or 2.5 or something in that area. It isn't an automatic 3.5% increase on the tax bill.
Right.
What 1% growth would relate to how many homes?
40.
Okay, Councillor.
Just a comment in regards to the reservoir construction. Regardless if it's going to cost us $9 million, we can't forget that we have an asset sitting over here on the southeast corner of town that is eventually going to be developed over time. And this, I presume that this money could be used to pay against any cost we have for the reservoir and any other expenses.
You're speaking of land that's...
Yeah, that's for sale. I'm talking about the industrial area. So these corners of the section of land, or however much it is.
The revenue could be used to pay down debt and offset interest or other items.
Okay. With the greatest respect to my councillors, development has often been mentioned. And I'm not being mean to anybody here in this statement. It's just that we really have to consider, we want people, our taxes to remain as they are not to have them go up every year. We have to consider, be more variables on our encouraging developers to come to this community, and I don't think we have been in that manner very much. So we don't want need for reservoir if we don't have any growth. Simple as that. We've done get along quite well. We only had 20 new starts this year, but there's a message there for all of us. When everybody else is having many starts. I know that's really not pertain. It does pertain to this in many ways, but we have to consider what we're doing on a broad base on all the areas. And I say that with the greatest respect. Thank you. And you're looking for motion?
Motion.
Yeah.
Mr. Worship, I will move the council approve the 2012 operating and capital budget as presented.
The other motion, any further discussion? Not all in favor? Okay.
Against? Opposed?
Opposed? One opposed? All right. Everybody's so cooperative always. Can somebody ordering breakfast?
No, I gotta move to go back to 11.
Yeah. I believe we're on 8-3, am I correct? No,
8-3.
8-3.
Okay.
Councillor Sobel. No. The counter crowd, my municipal waste all the way, sorry, busy, huh? I got them different places, yeah, sorry.
Good morning, Your Worship.
Yeah.
The agenda item this evening is to award the municipal solid waste contract for the town of Strathmore. This tender was posted on the APC Alberta Purchasing Connection website from November 2nd to December 1st, and the town received 4 tenders from interested parties on this contract. The 4 tenders ranged in per household pricing from $1.54 per household per pickup to $4.57 per household per pickup, translating into a total annual price range from $303,503 to $900,655. The current price, just for reference purposes, is $1.22 per household per pickup, and that translates to a total price of $240,438, using the same calculation criteria as previously. In this process, the current provider, the incumbent H&H Huckstead Enterprise Limited, were the low bidder in the tender process. And I go as far as to say that the current level of service with Huckstead is considered excellent. We feel that we're getting an excellent service from Huckstead in town. One of the concerns administration had with the tender from H&H Huckstead is that the rate has increased by 25%. So based on the current rate to the new proposed rate, it is an increase of 25%. This results in an annual collection increase of approximately $63,000, and individual haul rate for additional bins from the recycle yard would increase as well by approximately 86%, from $185 to $345. So there's an overall increase associated with this tender to the service provided in town of approximately $80,000 by wording this tender as proposed. However, that said, even with this increase, H&H Huckstead Enterprises Limited would remain as the lowest bidder for this activity by approximately 8% over the next closest bidder.
Any questions of this?
The only question I have, Your Worship, is what we're voting on right here, is that strictly the solid waste removal?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
For lack of a better term, the garbage contract.
Yes, thank you.
So how would this affect the average citizen financially?
We're not, at this point, we're not recommending an increase to the garbage levy, but we're looking at that in terms of future consideration. With the $80,000 or potentially $70,000 difference between what's budgeted for 2012 and what we've seen through this tender process, there is a potential for a shortfall relative to the garbage budget in 2012 that we'll need to review. But in light of the tenders and the contract expiring at the end of the month, it is, as indicated, the recommendation from administration that this be awarded to Huckstead Enterprise.
Go ahead, Councilor.
Quick question. This is a 3-year contract?
Correct.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but these rates will remain the same for the next 3 years, or is there a...
No, there is an allowance for those to increase over the period. We'd ask for pricing for the 2012, 2013, and 2014 years. The pricing in 2013 goes up, or is proposed to increase by 6 cents. So it would go to $1.60 in 2013, and then $1.67 in 2014
$1.16?
Sorry, $1.60.
$1.60?
Yeah.
In 2013?
Correct, and $1.67 in 2014. So that would translate into, assuming, and that would assume that there would be no change in the number of residences over that period, which is maybe not the best assumption, but comparing apples to apples, that would result in approximately a $12,000 increase from 2012 to 2013, and approximately $14,000 increase from 2013 to 2014, which represents, quick math, approximately a 3% increase year over year.
So basic cost of living.
Yes.
Any further questions? Not looking for a motion.
I move that council award the town of Strathmore municipal solid waste contract for the period of 2012 to 2014 to H&H Huckstead Enterprises Limited, and the mayor and CAO are authorized to sign the agreement on behalf of the town.
You all heard the motion. There's no further questions or comments. All in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't think I trust Mel too, so Mel, thank you for staying away. Thanks, Jesse.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Jess.
Pardon me?
I said thank you.
A4, amendment to the offer to purchase reservoir land, page 45.
Your worship, on this one, they need to have third reading by the end of the year. And that's not possible. So they've asked for an amendment to amend it for another month. And then that just sets back when we get our money in and so forth. So it's just an amendment for that purpose.
Which would also give us some time to wonder, to find out what's happening with the WLD. Would it not, contract to give us some understanding there?
Yes.
Would it not?
Yes.
As to what the cost is on the stormwater towards the developers.
That gives it a month more.
Yeah.
Your worship, I would move that council approve the amendments to the offer of purchase between the town of Strathmore and Skyscrape Management with respect to property described as Northwest 22, 24, 25, west of the 4th, as presented, and that the mayor and CA will be authorized to sign the amendment to the offer of purchase on behalf of the town.
The honored motion, no further questions or comments. All in favor? Carried. Kennel fees, Wheatland County, 8-5, administration. Welcome. Here you go. Morning. Welcome.
So I brought forward a request to do an increase in the kennel record fee for Wheatland County. I believe it's on page 47, 48. Your worship, we reviewed the actual operating costs for the kennel, and the numbers that we're using are from January 1st of 2011 to October 31st, 2011. And we only included the items that we feel that both the town and the county should be responsible for. And currently, Wheatland County is paying $250 a month, $2,000 a year. And the operating costs provided a sheet on page 50 to the end of October. We're also adding in the annual control officer wages for 1 hour per day. So to the end of October, that cost is $14,577. So for half the operating costs, plus 1 hour of our animal control officer's time, equates to $14,577.51. So we're just asking that Wheatland County be responsible to pay half of those costs.
So is that for, correct me, is that for one complete year, that figure from the Wheatland County, or just a portion of the year?
The operating costs
Yeah,
are showing,
the 14,577, is that for the complete year?
that goes to the end of October,
So it's not a complete year.
not a complete year.
So why would we only ask for that when we know what we should do that,
Well, these are the,
yeah.
you're just taking the actuals.
I would suggest that we ask for, divide that per month, it would be, I'd do some quick figuring here, it'd be $1,200 a month, and we ask for the $1,200 a month, which comes to what? I don't have the calculator here. 24,000, 24,000. Yeah.
For 1,200 per month?
Yes, Councilor Total?
This 14.5 to the end of October, did you say that these were only Wheatland County costs? Or is that total cost?
This is, what we have done is taken the total operating cost at the end of October, divided it in half.
Oh, okay.
Right, and then added in 1 hour per day for the.
Council Best?
Your worship, this has been an issue since I've been on council, and it goes back far too long. But it's finally, I applaud your efforts in this. It's something that we thought should happen for a long time. And it's nice to see this coming to us at this time.
I would ask council that we wrap it to about simply $1,200 a month, to make it more realistic for us. And we're looking for a motion to that.
Your worship, if we go to $1,200 per month, 12 times 12 is 144, is it not? And so we're cutting that figure down.
Or whatever it is. What does it work out to? I'm just trusting what they were saying there. So $1,200 a month is 10 months is 12,000.
14,400.
So what does it come to? Divide that 14,400 by 12.
I think 14,500 divided by 12 is 1,200 a month, if I have it correct.
Yeah, but that's only to the end of
That's
October.
great. Yeah, right. I didn't put the full year in there.
So that would be $1,457 a month.
Okay, let's go to 1,450.
1,450 a month?
14, yes.
Your worship, I would move that council approve the annual rate or the monthly rate.
Yes.
That's what, monthly is good? You bill it monthly? Yeah. We'll be billing a monthly.
What would it be then? I'm sorry.
Well, 1,450.
The monthly rate of $1,457 per month to be charged to Wheatland County towards the operating costs for the kennel.
And bill.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And bill monthly.
Yeah, just a quick question before we vote on that. Was Wheatland County discussed, has this been discussed with them at all?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
You all heard the motion? All in favor? Carried. No opposed? Thank you. Thank you, folks. 8-6 Library Board appointment. Councillor.
Your worship, we have had Ms. Crystal McIntyre sitting on our board meetings for quite some time now. She's a volunteer in good standing, and she is unable to make any real verbal contributions because she has not been approved by council as a member to the library board. So we as a board are requesting that she be appointed, or that council appoint Ms. Crystal McIntyre to the library board. So I could put that forward as a motion if you like.
Okay.
I would like to move that council appoint Ms. Crystal McIntyre to the library board.
Any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor? Carried. Opposed? None. Thank you. 8-7 Capital Purchase Family Center Administration.
The auto scrubber at the Family Center is nearing the end of its lifespan. It was purchased 5 years ago, and this machine is used on the rubber flooring for the dressing rooms, washrooms, halls, as well as on the linoleum surfaces and other areas daily. And it's at the point where it is requiring repairs frequently. I have checked with the finance department, and they have confirmed that we have enough in the Family Center capital reserve to purchase a new scrubber. Clean Spot is willing to sell the town a new auto floor scrubber for $6,500. And they will also credit the town $1,000 for a trade-in on the old machine, which equates to a purchase of $5,500. And the regular price on these machines ranges from $8,000 to $11,500. So we are requesting that council approve the purchase of the auto scrubber with funds being drawn from the Family Center capital reserves for the total amount not to exceed $5,500 plus GST.
I have a question. Number one, is the old one, is it operating yet?
No.
It's
in need of repairs. And the repairs are quite costly as well.
Why wasn't, if they knew it wasn't working well, why wasn't that put into our?
This just happened in the last couple of weeks.
Don't we have a maintenance program or something that we can forewarn this stuff? But I mean, this is a minor one, but, or it's not relatively minor. This is a big piece of equipment. You couldn't come to council like this. I'm saying there should be some sort of process that if this equipment is wearing out, we should have someone telling us ahead of time, is what I'm saying. I'm not giving anybody heck here. I just, we gotta be aware of this before this all of a sudden just is thrown at us, and, you follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Any questions from council?
Your worship, I would move that council approve the purchase of an auto floor scrubber with funds being drawn from Family Center capital reserves for the total amount not to exceed $5,500 plus GST.
I'll have the motion. Any further discussion or questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. 8-8, Councilor Sobel.
Your worship, a few moments ago, in our, as council approved budget, there's an item in there under community development involving $1,500 to go to 2012 Family Day celebrations. Last year's Family Day, which was a centennial project, was an extremely popular idea, and there was over 1,000 attendants in there. We'd like to continue on with that with that program, maybe on a lesser level than we do, but certainly have a Family Day celebration where people can go out and skate and enjoy the day. I've been successful in locating a group that is prepared to take on the responsibility for this. It's HEAL. You met Robert Breitwieser a little earlier. HEAL is the Healthy Eating Active Living group in town, and they're prepared to take this on. So I just wanted to let council know that the Family Day celebration will be taking place. There'll be some advertising, and we're just got to hope for good weather.
Excellent. At a cost of it, are you saying
the budget for that was placed at $1,500 by council, and they're aware that there is a budgetary cost to that, and they'll be going through the town in regards to those costs. I'll be working closely with the group.
Thank you. Any questions?
Good work, councilor.
And this is a motion?
No, I just wanted to. I don't think I need a motion.
Your worship, it's already in the budget.
Yeah, the budget, the budgetary cost. I just wanted to let council know that it was going and who was doing it.
Thank you very much, and thank you for Mr. Webster to help you out there.
Right on.
And committee. And there have 8, 9. Who was that?
That was my issue too. I noticed it was not in the agenda. There was a group that was here 2 weeks ago looking for a counselor to be the representative on the Strathmore Youth Council. And I'm not sure if anyone else was interested. I did submit my name as someone who might be interested in being on that committee.
That one is important. I would certainly volunteer for that on an alternate basis.
I'll invite you. I'll invite you.
Your worship, I would therefore move that council approve Councilor Bob Sobel and the Mayor Steve Graychuk to represent the town to the youth council.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions? Not all in favor? No, I could have missed. I got 8-10. So is there somebody on that one? I could have misread that. I did good. Council and committee reports. Administration, do we have anything? No.
No, not tonight. It's too late.
It doesn't say anything.
Your worship, what we're talking about is the committee reports that are given, once a month. There's anything key from any of the committees.
So? Nothing key?
We don't. I don't know if council does.
What does council feel about that? Do you have anything that you want to report on? Anybody?
I have just a couple of things, Your Worship. The housing board will remain with the same people, except for there will be one change with Bernice Bland replacing Brendan Knight. And the Community Futures Wild Rose, there will be a new chair. His name is Bruce Kaufman. He is from Hussar. The vice chair will be Alice Booth from Wheatland County.
Oh, yeah.
And I will remain as the secretary treasurer.
Thank you. Anybody else?
What, are we doing committee reports tonight or not, your worship? Is that, are we doing that? I just thought maybe we were changing something.
No, we're doing committee reports right now. Yeah.
The other thing, your worship, that I just wanted to mention, because it is of great interest, is there's talk of a new super warehouse, which will be approximately 1 million square feet, being built by Conreach. That will be for Target. And there is funding has been applied for a new tourist info center by Clooney.
Where's this warehouse?
By Conreach.
Conreach?
Conreach, yeah.
All right, okay. Any other reports? Thank you.
I just have a couple quick
Go
ones.
ahead.
The Strathmore District Museum meeting, we are in the works of becoming a society so that we can start to apply for grant applications. There was, I think some of you knew that there was a video done with some SAIT students for interviewing some seniors. Those tapes or those videos were lost by the videographer, so there's been a partial refund to the person who sponsored that financially. Wheatland Housing, I have the same things that Councillor Best said. The library board meeting, as you've just done, we've approved a new member. We have a book sale set for December 9th and 10th as a fundraiser. There have been some improvements done to the meeting room, and the new and improved library website is supposed to be up and running in early January. The Youth Club of Strathmore, we have a new chair elected. It was Catherine Walsh. There are plans to run a crafts class in December. Programs are all up and running. We have a new volunteer, Kalina Clark, who will be the new volunteer program coordinator. And there's a new fundraiser in the works for April of 2012. Thanks to Kirsten Mundy for coming up with that idea. So we're looking at that in April. Am I allowed to say what it is?
It's May. You're more welcome to say what it is, but it is May.
It is May, sorry. I've got it down here in my minutes as April, but it is in May. It's a casino that we'll be doing for the town. And there's been some really good progress inside and out with paint. There's a chance for us to get a really good deal on floors, for the flooring for the youth center. And that is it, your worship.
Thank you. Councillor Hamilton.
Quickly, with DEMSA, November 7th, meeting held at the county office, financial reports were given, organizational meeting was held and all officers remained the same. AGM date was set for February 6th. The award ceremony for long service was held on December 5th at the Ambulance Hall. Chamber of Commerce, November 21st, meeting held, business of new members being accepted, and the hiring of a new administrator and clerk was ratified, and the date set for a Christmas get-together for December 10th. Communities of Bloom, November 14th, meeting held at the town office, numerous items discussed, and a date of January 16th, 2012 set for the AGM. Citizens on Patrol, November 14th, meeting held at the office, and a general discussion of events that have been reported to the RCMP were discussed along with initiatives as how to recruit more members, nothing from over.
Thank you. Councillor Rocky.
Your worship, I have no reports for tonight.
Thank you. Councillor Cole.
I do. Strathmore Wheatland Eviction Team met on November 3rd. During the meeting, SWAT decided to enter into an agreement with Magnet Signs, which we'll see company post two different signs at two locations in Strathmore, which deal with both abuse issues, which is alcohol and drugs. These signs first appeared on December 1st, and we'll see the contents change on a monthly basis. The signs will focus on a positive message designed to promote responsibility and good choices, not only in our youth, but in adults as well. God bless you. Strathmore Golf Course Arts and Recreation Foundation, the meeting was held November 2nd. I didn't intend to do this being a council night. Presentations and discussions were held in regards to the various recreational components that are being planned for the project. Discussions were also had in regards to the concept of forming a new registered charity with members of various arts groups and the golf courses, and the golf course becoming members. More discussions in this matter are scheduled to take place. It's also decided that future meetings will be held on the first Wednesday of each month, which will effectively prevent me from attending any further meetings. But I will be getting minutes. And lastly, Hope Bridges, that committee is tasked with completing a comprehensive feasibility strategy that would outline reasonable options on obtaining and administrating a multi-use performing arts center in the region. With the assistance of RC Strategies, the committee did complete their study and met on November 29th to review, offer feedback, and make corrections, all in anticipation of a final report set to be released later this month. Although it's premature for me to discuss the contents of the study until it's formally released, one area that can be discussed was the recommendation that a performing arts society be developed involving all arts groups in town and the region. Once the feasibility study is released, it will be this committee's intent to work towards the goal, and all committee members were asked to extend their commitment for 6 months until the end of June 2012. It's a very good step in the right direction, and I would ask support from council to remain on this committee until June 30th, 2012.
Thank you. Any questions? No, I had a CRP executive meeting in Cochrane at the Cochrane Town office, and there was not going to be no motion, or there's no motion not to raise the membership fees for 212 to 13. There was some discussion and no motion put forward on the chair receiving $25,000 per year because of all the work they do. The vice chair earning $15,000 a year, and the secretary treasurer plus traveling expenses. And I didn't go. The next meeting was I was sick, and it was a storm going on, so I didn't make the second meeting. I don't think that motion passed from what I hear on the rumor mill. So that's pretty much it, except that they are continually asking our rural friends to join CRP. This money, by the way, will come out of our funding that we put into, which I can't remember per person, is about $1.60 per person. Am I correct in that, administration? When we fund CRP?
We fund by your worship. I can't remember if it's that amount.
Close to that, yeah.
Yeah, it's close to that, yeah. So that's where this money would have come out. I would have voted against it anyway. That's never receiving any funds. That concludes my report. Motion to accept the report, sir.
I'd so move.
All in favor? Carried. And I believe that we made it in time. There's no other, I don't see number of pages on the agenda. Am I wrong? We gotta go back. Yes. Motion for adjournment? I do adjourn. All in favor? Carried. Recording, please.